Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Ethereum and look at its USD valuation as well as its valuation against Bitcoin. If you guys like the content, subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also, check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Let's go ahead and jump in. So, Ethereum is back up to 1244. So, it's made a decent move over the last couple days. Let's go look at the daily time frame. So, from earlier this week, we know we had a wick down to 977 or so. So from that point, it's trended up. It's about 26% now. From the wick here, it reached close to $1,300 at 31% or so. So Ethereum has had it's had a decent few days. Now we know, as always, that it will depend on Bitcoin. And one of the things we've stipulated many times is that if Bitcoin can cool off, if it cools off, then it likely will be a catalyst for Ethereum, not only against USD, but also against Bitcoin. And we can see that despite the fact that we had a short-term move to the downside, the weekly candles are still all green, right? Our weekly candle is green. We had a wick all the way down here at just below 0.03 earlier this week, but in fact, we're back up to 0.034. And so Ethereum is still doing quite well. At this point, we always know it will depend on the health of Bitcoin. Remember, this is not financial advice. We're just taking a pragmatic view of the markets and trying to understand what's going on. One of the things we've looked at is the monthly moving averages for Ethereum against Bitcoin, and we'll just do a quick update there. Let me pull up a couple moving averages so that we can look at them. So we're going to first put on the 20-month. So this is the 20-month moving average, which, as we know, has acted as our support in a bull market, and so far so good. It has played out like we were hoping it would. And then we've also have the 50-month, which is still a long ways away. This 50-month was where we had our top in the summer, and its valuation was at around 0.04. Now the valuation of the 50-month of Ether Bitcoin is 0.0415, 9868, so around 0.0416. Okay, so if Ether Bitcoin's 20-month or 50-month is at 0.0416, then we know that at 0.034 we still have a ways to go. And to get there against Bitcoin, Ethereum would need to rally another 20%. Okay, and if it were to rally another 20%, we know that it would put in a new all-time high. And of course, if it were to rally to this point, we're not saying that that's the top. We're just saying that it's notable that that was the top in the summer. So we could say that the risk would be, at least discretely higher, incrementally higher in that regard if you're not using, say, a continuous function. If you're just looking at, say, discrete levels of where Ethereum is in the grand scheme of its valuation against Bitcoin. Obviously getting to the point where it reached identically at that peak in the summer, that would bring on a new level of risk. Of course, there's already a decent amount of risk with where the price currently is. Hopefully, it trends higher. But again, we always know there are risks associated in this market. It's always good to take a pragmatic look at the potential downside, even in a bull market. So even in a bull market, the potential downside is the bull market support band, which today ranges from 569 up to 644. Now, it doesn't mean we would hold it, right? No one knows what will happen. But we're saying at the very least, you have to be prepared for a dump to that level, even in a bull market. Okay, even in a bull market, you'd have to be prepared for that. Hopefully, Ethereum is able to trend higher and put in a new all-time high. As we know, we are not that far away. If in fact we draw a line at the top, we can see that it doesn't need to trend up that much higher for us to put in a new Ethereum all-time high against USD. So it's been a great year. It's certainly been a great year for Ethereum. One of the things we discussed for months leading up into January, of course, as many of you guys know, is the idea that Ethereum should rally against Bitcoin in January. We talked about it for months, and I'm sure many of you guys were sick of it, and here we are, right? We have moved up, and from the bottom of the wick down here, we're already up 50%. We had a wick up to around 54% or so. So far, so good, right? Ethereum has played out for the 6th year in a row. Now, the question ultimately will be, can it trend higher? And in order to have any type of insight there, you always have to keep an eye on Bitcoin. You always have to keep an eye on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin heads south too quickly, then we know that Ether USD will bleed, or likely will bleed if it goes south too quickly. However, if Bitcoin continues doing this, where it keeps bouncing around for a while, then it could potentially continue to catalyze Ethereum for Ethereum to continue making moves against Bitcoin, which is exactly what it's been doing for the last 3 weeks. This is the 3rd week in a row. Weekly close is tomorrow, but this is theoretically the 3rd week in a row, as long as we don't come crashing back down, that will have a green weekly candle of Ethereum against Bitcoin, meaning during that week from open to close, Ethereum's valuation was gaining on Bitcoin. Okay, so that's ultimately what we want to see. And so far, so good. The 3 weeks, this one started December 28th, but we know the move really didn't start until early December. These are weekly candles. So far, all 3 weeks of January, even here where we had a little bit of overlap in December, all 3 weeks have been green. So far, the trend has been that Ethereum is gaining value against Bitcoin, just like we said it would, just like we said it likely would, based on historical data, and in the manner that it has. I mean, obviously we know that it has worked out. So far, it just as easily could have not worked out, and we would have said, okay, well, we looked at the data, and this is what the data suggested, but this year it did not work out. It worked out this time. It wasn't just a matter of December, it was also the fact that Ethereum was bleeding against Bitcoin throughout most of Q4, just like it did every other year. It was also the fact that it seemed like Ethereum was lagging behind Bitcoin. Bitcoin was in a bull market, and Ethereum USD was significantly lagging behind in terms of reaching significant milestones like its prior all-time high, which Bitcoin has already moved twice past its prior all-time high. So this is just something to consider, that we always said that this would hopefully occur, but there was no free lunch and that it might not have occurred. So we'll watch Bitcoin. One of the things we were watching on stream was the fact that the Bitcoin dominance was hovering around that 68.5% level for a few days, and that we finally broke through it, and we've headed down fairly quickly down to 67%. So the Bitcoin dominance has lost about 1.5% over the last day. And because of this, not only Ethereum has started performing again, there's a lot of other coins that we follow that are having really good days, really good weeks. So we'll keep following Ethereum. We'll see if we can have a further breakout to $1,400. Make sure you always have yourself protected to the downside in the event of a dump. Remember, none of this is financial advice, but hopefully if you're making life-changing money in these markets, hopefully you are, hopefully you have a plan to not completely squander all of it, and you're staying responsible. So that'll wrap it up for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Let's go for 100,000 subscribers. Give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. That'll wrap it up for this video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.